Hi guys, welcome back to Friday Night Live. We've missed you this past week, but we just had a great time enjoying the sunshine with our kids over half term. Hope you had a relaxing time too. We're excited though to get back to it, and tonight we are kicking off a new series called On the Road.
On the Road is taken from the story of the two disciples who are on the road to Emmaus. They've just spent a good 2-3 years with Jesus, just watching him perform his miracles and his teaching. And they're just discussing life and discussing Jesus on this road. Then the stranger joins them and joins in with their conversation, travels with them, and that stranger turns out to be Jesus. And we just want this topic on the road to be a conversation about what's going on in our lives and Jesus and how that all fits together.
That's awesome. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be having convos with different people, like they're coming alongside us on the road, on that journey, chatting through some of these topics. So that's exciting. We're going to have some special guests every week now until the end of the summer term. So tonight, our very first episode is called The Lowdoen on Love. We feel that God really wants to talk into what we think is often a toxic dating culture in youth at the moment. And to be fair, it's not new, guys. Like, Colin and I weren't Christians when we were teenagers, and I know that I grew up in a toxic dating culture. And when I say toxic dating culture, what I mean is the rules of engagement, the rules of how you date and stuff like that hurt people. Like, the dating culture that I definitely was a part of hurt me deeply on the inside, and I still bear some of those scars today. But we believe that God wants to speak into that when God calls us into his family and calls us through faith in Jesus to be his children, he doesn't just want to speak to like the Sunday version of ourselves. He wants to speak into every part of our lives, and that includes dating. Guys, it is completely normal to have crushes on people and to really like people, but the way we go about it and the way that it is portrayed in youth culture can be really damaging and hurtful to people. So that's what we believe God wants to speak into. I remember once when Colin and I were first dating, I was 19. We hadn't been going out for very long, maybe like 3 weeks. And Colin said to me, "What is it that you want?" And before I could even think, I said commitment. It just came out of my mouth as a 19-year-old. And he didn't run, he's still here. But what we want to say to you tonight is that God is feeling the exact same way about us. So I would say that dating culture amongst youth is consumerist. Do you know what that means? That means like it's all about what you can consume. Like, imagine like a feast set before you and you've got donuts and really high calorie sugary stuff and you're like, oh yeah, it's delicious, I just want to eat it. Dating culture is about what you can eat, what you can get. But God's dating culture is about what you can commit to. There's 2 C's there. So the world says dating is all about what you can get, who you fancy, how much you want to go out with them, whether they want to go out with you, what physical stuff they'll do with you, how they make you feel. It's all about that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's about, that's how we get our worth. We think, oh, we're worthy if people want to consume us. But actually what God says is that the dating culture that he wants us to have is about commitment. And we know that because in the Bible they teach that the way Jesus feels about his people is a bit like the way someone who's going to marry someone feels about them. So like betrothed is what the Bible says. It means like engaged. So the Bible teaches that Jesus and his church, that's all the people who believe, are like girlfriend and boyfriend waiting to get married. And that Jesus is completely and truly committed to his girlfriend. Like, he's coming back for her. He'll never be unfaithful. He loves her so much, he'd lay down his life for her. And so what we want to do today, we're about to have a convo with a really great couple, is just to help you shift your understanding that God, we're not going to talk about rules and stuff, because Jesus was so often about the heart of the matter. And so what we want to do is help you shift your understanding of the heart issue of dating from what culture says it is to what God says it is, from being about consuming to being about what you can commit to a relationship. So we're really excited to welcome George and Jess Claringbold. You might have seen them around the Ark Church if you've ever been to the Ark Church. They're a young couple, been married for a few years. They were Christians when they met, so they did the whole dating thing with God, and so they've got an experience they can share that Colin and I just can't. So we hope you'll be blessed by them. Here they are.
Hi, George and Jess!
Hello.
Yay! Welcome to Friday Night Live on the road, the first episode. We are so glad to have you on. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
Amazing. But first, we're going to kick off with a bit of a Mr. and Mrs. quiz. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire 2 options at you, and you've got to answer for the other person, okay?
All right.
So George, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll alternate. So I'll go George, Jess, okay?
Yeah.
So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Peas or carrots?
Carrots.
Jess, sheep or goats?
Sheep.
George, winter or summer?
Summer.
Jess, Bethel music or Hillsong worship?
Hillsong.
George, seaside or forest?
Forest.
Jess, hiking or biking?
Hiking. Neither. That was quick.
George, popcorn or pick and mix?
Ooh. Pick and mix.
Jess, Marvel or DC?
I'm not really sure what they are.
Maybe I should throw that one to George. George, Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Then I'll give this one to Jess then. Jess, front or back row at church?
Front.
Jess, back to you. Tea or coffee?
I'm answering this for George one again, yeah?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Tea.
George, beard or shaven? No, that's wrong.
Beard or shaven. It's right. What do I like?
What does
Yes.
she like?
Yeah, what
Oh, yes.
Not
Yes.
actually for
Yes,
her
yes,
facial
yes.
hair.
I like looking at.
Oh. I'd probably say shaven, actually.
Jess, windows open or windows shut?
It's such a funny exception.
George, dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Jess, Big Mac or McFlurry?
Big Mac.
That concludes your quiz questions.
I think you got them all right.
Yeah, what's your scores?
5. You got all 5 right. Were there 5?
There was more than 5, wasn't there?
There should be 7 each.
Case is 5 out of 7.
No, you got 5 out of 7.
Yeah, so did you.
Oh. I thought
Did you both get 5?
all the time.
I'm not sure if we were ticking or.
I think 5 out of 7 is good.
Yeah.
What did you get wrong?
I
Tea
think
or coffee? Front row, back row.
front row.
Yeah, he always makes me sit on the front row with him.
He has to.
It's
He pays
easy.
to, Jess.
I'm like, can we just sit in the back today, please? And tea or coffee, because he is a coffee drinker, but he's
Yeah.
gone off at the moment.
Yeah.
So what would you send back?
I would have said coffee, I think,
But at the moment, it's tea.
And I'd also say Bethel music as well.
Oh, that was hard. She thought about that. for a
That
long
was
time
hard,
ago.
yes.
I think
They're
I got
difficult.
all mine right. Well, no, I think I got all yours right.
Yeah, probably did. Yeah, he probably did better.
Well done.
You
So
have like
I'm the winner.
you have like an eye for detail. George Collin does. He like remembers all the things.
Everything.
Like, do you remember when we did that? I'm like, no.
He's just like that.
Yeah.
Remember the date, the time, what we were wearing, what car we were in, the road we drove on.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what I did this morning, ever.
That's so true.
I've got a date set which is September this year, when Kim's been with me more than half her life that she's been alive. I think it's sometime. I worked it out the other day. September.
A long time. A long time.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Anyway, we'll crack on with some questions here. So, on one of our maybe our third or fourth dates, I took Kim to watch Apocalypse Now Redux, and it's a war film, Vietnam film from 1979. The director released his cut, which was 3.5 hours, or maybe 3 hours 40. So I took Kim to watch this. She promptly fell asleep in the cinema. Wasn't the most successful of dates, but I enjoyed myself. So,
and that's the main thing.
What's your most embarrassing date story?
Wow. For us, one of ours was.
Yeah, George, do tell them.
Yeah. So when we were dating, so it was very early on in our relationship. Jess was in London. She was doing a gap year in London, so I went to go down and see her, and it was after church. We needed some lunch, and so we just wanted something quick. I think I had to go, or I don't know. Anyway, so we wanted something quick. Anyway, so we went to Wetherspoon, the delightful place it is, and we were looking at the menus, and Jess said to me, "Oh, surprise me, get what you think I'd like." So I go to the bar. You know how in Wetherspoons you go to the bar and you get a drink and you get some food, and I put an order down, and these 2 plates arrived at our table, and there were 2 big, massive beef burgers, and I was thrilled. I thought, this looks delicious. And Jess says, "George, you've ordered me a beef burger," and Jess is vegetarian. So
really?
Yeah.
It's really a beef burger? Like, not joking?
Yeah, I really messed up. One, I messed up taking her to Wetherspoons. Lads, take somewhere a bit nicer. But
She does.
2, don't order a beef burger. She's vegetarian, because that doesn't go down very well. So yeah, that made me feel a bit. And I knew she was a vegetarian as well. I don't know what.
I think he just panics. He panics sometimes. Goes, we'll both have the same.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
But we're still together.
We're still together, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
She forgave me.
Yeah.
So I guess on a related note, when I first met Colin, I was like 19, and I started working for a nightclub in Cambridge, and he was the supervisor there, and he was really funny. That was the first thing I noticed about him, and the first thing I really liked about him. He had like a really sharp sense of humour, and he was always saying things that would make me laugh. But also, we had to wear these white tight t-shirts with the emblem of the nightclub on, and we were both much slimmer then than we are now, much slimmer versions of ourselves. And I love like men's arms. I think that's because of like the way they sort of, an embrace and a protection. And he just looked so cute in this white tight t-shirt. And I could sometimes see his tattoos like popping out, and I just thought that was really cute. So that's what I first saw of him.
You're going to need to put a photo up.
Yeah, we might. Our question to you is, what did you guys first think of each other when you met?
Wow. So, do you want to go?
No. Go ahead.
Well, it's funny because we've known each other for a long time, because we grew up in the village of ours, centre of the universe, and but it was really when we kind of started talking, was when we, things started to progress. When we started that kind of time, I guess. What did I think of Jess? I thought I didn't think she was that into me, if I'm completely honest. She was very clear. She said to me, "I'm not looking for a boyfriend." Those
Shut down.
It was literally her words, and I remember thinking I really enjoyed speaking with her. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think of me?
I remember thinking he has got his head screwed on, which is refreshing in guys, because a lot of them don't. Not in there. I mean, I just remember thinking, yeah, he's really got his head screwed on, and he's really serious about his faith. And like hearing him talk about, we were just sat on the sofa chatting about what we needed in a partner, if we were ever stupid enough to look for a partner, what would we want. And I remember him saying, and I've always wanted to be in ministry with someone, and they've got to have a faith, it's got to be serious, faith has got to be, and I was like, yep, tick. But I'd obviously prior to that said, I am so not looking at men at all, I'm so done with men. And he'd obviously gone away thinking, okay, I got the message.
Yeah.
But the wrong message, I sent the wrong message out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd always see Jess. Oh, so go on.
No, carry on.
I was just going to say, I've always seen Jess as quite bubbly person as well, bubbly and loud, in a good way. But when
Do you remember when that changed and when you moved from? Because sometimes when you first meet, you don't know straight away. Oh, this is someone I'm definitely going to date. Like if you're not even thinking about that. Do you remember when it first? Do you remember how you felt when it first changed, or how you knew that it changed? Like, what does it feel like to know that something shifted when you look at?
I'm very forward, I have to say.
Yeah, I think even from it's going to sound really holy. We were in a prayer room when it all kind of happened. So we were just chatting away in the prayer. So doing a lot of praying, of course, and so we were just chatting, and I think I went away. It was like I really enjoyed hanging out with her. That was really cool. But of course, I had that kind of, she's obviously not very interested, but we started hanging out more and more from that point.
Once we packed the prayer room down, we're like, you want to go for a walk?
Okay. And I think that's when it kind of changed, really. Yeah. And like, it was like we do want to hang out, and like, we'll go out and go for a walk and stuff. And, but yeah, I think that was probably the point, I reckon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that.
So going from niceties onto little niggles and annoying habits, right? Kim hasn't got many, but one of them was she pushes the toothpaste up from anywhere. Like, and I was always taught to push it up from the bottom.
From the bottom.
So when I get to it, I have to work it all the way up.
We have our own.
Yeah.
Oh, do you? We never thought of that.
So, what are each other's annoying little niggles?
Do you want to go first? You go first.
George likes to kick his shoes off right in front of the door when he gets home. We have 2 shoe racks. I'm like, great, I'm pregnant, I'm going to trip over them. And also, when we are cooking, because George likes to cook, he has this thing where he just puts utensils on the side. We have got spoon holders, and we have got things you can rest it on, so I don't have to keep wiping down the sides, but he just put forks on the side of the hob, or spoons by the side of the kettle.
But to me, that's what a kitchen is for, isn't it? Like, that's what you.
But if that's as bad as it gets, we're doing okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Annoying habit, yes, is I'm not very good at, like, sometimes I struggle to say what I want to say, and so I'll be trying to talk to Jess and say something, but I can't quite articulate what I want to say, and she'll be finishing my sentence for me, and I find it really irritating. I'm like, no, that's not what I want to say. Like, it's really irritating. I'm like, stop finishing my sentence. Like,
that's not where I was going with it. I'm like, tell me.
Yeah.
Love
Brilliant.
that.
But we love each other.
We do
love
love
each other. Yeah.
I think that is marriage, though, isn't it? It's like finding all those fun things out and then living with them. Okay, so I said I love you first to Colin.
So she reckons.
I definitely did.
I think she did. Yeah.
And he didn't say it back straight away. I remember it wasn't very long after we were dating.
It was a month.
A month. I don't know. I'm impulsive. What can I say? That is.
You said it was less than a month. You said it.
No, I think it was a month.
It was about a month.
Yeah. And then anyway, then there was this thing that I had said I love you and he hadn't, and I was like, well, that's it. I've laid it all on the line. And I remember I was at uni at the time and I was doing some studying, and I got a call, and he'd gone out. Some of his family had come down to Cambridge, and he'd gone out to a pub for lunch, and he rang me from the pub lunch to say I can't eat anything because I need to tell you that I love you. So he didn't say it back in the end. I can't remember how much longer that was.
It wasn't long after.
It wasn't.
Maybe a week after.
So that's just like a really intimate question, isn't it? But who said I love you first? How did that all go down?
Well, I have to talk first. It was me.
Forever.
It was me, but it was Jess. Like,
yeah.
So Jess implied it. So Jess.
I've been like, I just think you are so wonderful. There is nothing I don't think is great about you.
She spent 2 weeks in New Zealand.
I did have to go to the other side of the planet.
Yeah. And I was like, I think for me, that was when I hit home. So she was like FaceTiming me and stuff. And I'd be like, don't say it. You're not telling me over FaceTime. Like, you know what I mean? So then when she got back, she was she got back into London. This is all in a gap year in London. So I went to go down and see her. We had pizzas in the park, and I L-bombed her, and she was a bit irritated because she was like, "Oh, I wanted to say it first."
I was like, finally, I only had to go physical for this, but finally.
Yeah.
That's a good story. That's a good story, guys.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder sometimes.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
When I was praying about should I ask him to marry me, I was out on site with work, and I was just wandering through this road, and I wasn't really thinking about it at the time, but all I hear is this distant little tune playing. Dee 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 dee. I was like, what is that? And as I went around this parked car, there's like a wedding card, like you buy, open, that plays a tune, just sat on the verge there, just playing this tune. And instantly I just knew that was my answer from the Lord.
That's so cool.
So when did you know that it was time to marry, or that this was the one that you had to marry?
Wow. Well, what do you want to say?
Okay, so when we were still dating, we finished packing up prayer room. I don't know if I didn't tell him I was going to say this, but it's funny anyway. We carried on hanging out, and he said, "Oh, I need a lift to Ely train station." And I was like, "Oh, I'll take you. We get to spend more time together." And in my head, I was thinking, this is a good time to test him to see if he's really who I want to be with. So I put my favourite CD in of like my 90s music. I was like, here we go. I'm like, give me your best dance moves, George. And in my head, I was thinking, if he doesn't dance, he's not, no. And he didn't know the pressure that was on him at this moment. I was like, if he doesn't dance, I will probably not carry on seeing him, seriously. And if he does, I'll be thinking, all right, he's spontaneous, he's fun, he's up for adventure, he doesn't mind on the spot stuff, which he's very organised, so it's for him to do that anyway. So then he danced, and I was like, all right, we have a keeper here. And that was like maybe a few weeks in, and I was just waiting for the rest of the time, basically. After that,
I think so. We got engaged. I think it was 14 months in, so it's quite.
It was long,
quite a long time. And I definitely prayed about it, and not that I didn't pray about whether I should marry Jess. It was like, when should we get married, and when should we get engaged and stuff. But it was very obvious from early on. We kind of had that conversation of
on the sofa in the prayer room. We did. I think eventually. Yeah. Like after the first night, I remember we were talking about. We
definitely said.
Maybe it wasn't on the sofa.
Well, we had marriage conversations. Like we said,
I wouldn't bother dating someone if I didn't want to marry them.
Yes. Yeah,
at the very start, it's very black and white.
Yeah.
Do you want children? Cool. Okay, well, let's carry on talking. It was very much at the start.
And I think as well, if you love someone, you see a future with them. That's a really good indicator that the right person to marry. If you don't see a future with that person, you're just wasting your time, I think. But
yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah.
Does that answer it?
Does that answer?
Yeah. No, it does. That's amazing. Yeah.
So I think so. Colin and I have been together for
a long time,
like 20 plus years, I think. We've been married for coming up for 17 years.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing I've learned is trust. Like the way that you love me has transformed my experience of trust. Like I trust him completely. I don't think I've trusted anyone like that in my life before. When we first met, we weren't Christians, and I was really insecure. But after we met Jesus, I'd say that started to change. But the way he has loved me has radically changed my ability to completely trust myself to another person. And so that's massive. So I guess we wanted to ask you the same, like, what have you learned about yourself and about relationships and about God, really, since you've been together?
Great question. You want to go first?
I think quite similar, actually. I think I was still quite insecure when I first met him, and finding someone that you just know is good and kind and Christ-like transforms who you are, because they make you feel so secure. I think like things relationally that I've learned is choose your battles. Like, a spoon on the side is not worth sleeping on the sofa for, losing sleep over. Like, you know, I think I pray a lot that we would fight for each other and not against each other. That's one of my regular prayers for us, because we don't really, I don't think, fight.
No.
We just, and I think someone gave me advice to be united with each other, and you know, choose to stay united, like, regardless of what is thrown at you, and, you know, whatever is coming at you from the outside world, you are together, you chose to be together. I think also someone else, I would take advice. I think that's some advice. Take advice. Don't be afraid of taking advice from people that have had relationships longer than you. Because I think sometimes people are like, oh no, we want to do it our own way. But I remember speaking to someone who said to me, it's okay to be who I am. I would definitely say I'm the louder one. I'm the quiet one. I'm the one who's a bit more spontaneous. And George has got his head screwed on. He's got plans. He keeps me level. Like, we kind of level each other out, which again is another good thing. It doesn't. You don't have to be the same. Chalk and cheese is a good thing.
Yeah.
A very good thing, I think, because it brings the best, and, you know, you pull stuff out of each other. But I was told that it's okay to be the loud one, but be submissive. Like, realizing that the husband that you want will be the head of the household is okay. Like, it's okay. Like, submitting to him isn't being weak. It doesn't mean you have to sit there quietly and meekly, and, you know, you have no say in anything. You can still have your opinion, but you do have to find that respect in submitting to someone that you love, because Christ is the head of the church, and, you know, the husband kind of reflects that. And I think I needed someone to say that to me, like, you are not going to be the head of your house. I know you're loud, I know you have opinions, but, you know, he will be the head of your house, and he will have the final say sometimes, and you'll have to submit to that, because his heart is, you know, in the right place. So I think I found the submission thing, like someone saying that to me, was really eye-opening and refreshing for me to hear, because it definitely came from someone that loved me. And it was before we got married. They're like, just so you know, in your marriage you're going to need to just sometimes. So I found that really helpful. Yeah, I don't know about you. What have you learned, like, relationally, or about yourself? Or
I think not being selfish. I think,
yeah,
like, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but not. I think compromising is a really good thing. Like, in marriage, I think you need to compromise, but also have a good priority on marriage, I think.
compromising the right things.
Yeah. I don't know if that really makes sense, but.
So this is our last question to you two. What advice would you give to young people thinking about dating or already in a relationship?
Oh. Go on, you go first.
I think you have to know what you want long term in a human, in a partner. Like, when you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, when you see your grandparents, like, what do you hope you have got in that moment that you need to start looking for in this moment, and pray for that. I think I sometimes underestimate praying for, like, the future. I definitely have taken a grasp of it in the last few years. Like, sorry about the neighbours. Praying for specific things, like praying you will have a man of faith, praying you will have, you know, someone that compliments you and encourages you. I think pray for, even if you're not dating someone, pray for the person you want to come into your life to come alongside you, and don't compromise on it. Like, even if you think, wow, he could be the one, but he, you know, he doesn't really like Jesus. Don't compromise on that. You know, like that. Don't choose. If you need to compromise on things, let them be small things, but, like, know what you want to spend the rest of your life with. I think is good. Because it's long haul, you know. It's not weekly. He's my partner for my life, and I love that. I love that he's my best friend, and we goof around, and we always will. I like, when we're 90, we will still goof around and play with the dog and whatever. And I also put, what did I put? Don't necessarily look for someone who is the same as you. So you might be like, oh, you have to be a Christian. or she has to be a worship leader like me. But chalk and cheese, like I said, is a good thing. It's a really good thing. Yeah, I guess that's probably it. Like, don't be afraid to be different to the person that you end up falling in love with, as long as they've got the attributes that will carry through what you want in like life.
That's good. Yeah, advice. The advice I'd probably give is base your relationship and friendship. I think that's really important. I remember Rohan, who was my youth leader, when the time he said to me, the friend zone can seem like a really bad thing to so many people, but if anything, it's the best thing. And basing your relationship on friendship is I think just the key, I think. And I think when you're a Christian and you are dating, it's the perfect time to build that kind of friendship. And I think that's really important, as Jess said, because it's the person you spend your life with. I'd also say as well, I probably advise, I don't know how to say this nicely, but probably not to date non-Christians. I think Jess, how you said it was probably loads better, but the values that you have of different things will conflict, and it'll be hard. Just things like, I don't know, like it's Sunday and you're a Christian and you want to go to church, but your partner's been working all week or has been at college all week, and I don't know, he doesn't necessarily want to go to church and he wants to hang out, and then you miss church, and then I don't know, it becomes like a regular thing. Or I don't know, like he or she might want to have sex, and you're like, well, I don't want to do that. But then they might say, well, I don't want to be with you anymore. And then your values and your attributes, they kind of conflict, and that kind of continues. So I think that's kind of, I'd say, be cautious about that. And also be honest with each other.
I would say honesty is a really good thing.
Like, be honest with each other, and like talk about long-term stuff with each other. Don't be afraid to talk about marriage and like kids, and that's really, really important. Like, to talk about kids and, you know, dreams and hopes. I think, and I remember as well someone saying to me, don't look for the right person, be the right person. In the sense of, you know, just concentrate on your relationship with God, and He will bring the right person alongside of you. Like, I think, I'm not saying we're the perfect example, because we're not, but for me, when Jess, I find it funny because Jess says, you know, I'm not interested in having a boyfriend, and I wouldn't say that I necessarily was actively looking for a girlfriend at that time. Like, I was enjoying doing stuff at church and seeking God, but I think that's probably why it worked out so well, was because we were both seeking the Lord, and actually just at the same time we were kind of coming alongside each other, building a friendship, and from that kind of more kind of came from it. And so I'd say, like, don't necessarily look for a girlfriend and boyfriend, like actively look, but just concentrate on building your relationship with God, and stuff will kind of like come from that.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then when you think, I think this is the one, the honesty thing is definitely good. I'm very black and white with George. I realised that like playing hard to get and the chase, I have got no time for that whatsoever. So I'd say things to George like, I like you, you know, and that's okay to say stuff like that. Or, you know, when you feel like you're such good friends that you don't want to ruin it, don't ruin it, but have conversations like George was saying, like, do you see a future together? You know, what are your thoughts? I think being black and white and totally honest with each other, like playing hard to get, is not, who's got time for that? It's just a waste of time. It is a waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of emotions.
There definitely seems to be a thing of kind of like, there's a stage now before dating, like where you kind of hang out and you're like, well, we're not boyfriend and girlfriend, but
what are we?
You are, and just be honest with each other and just don't hang about, like, you know.
Yeah. Definitely. I think if you have to keep things quiet and secret, it's probably not right, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you're keeping things on the lowdown, like, why are you keeping them on the lowdown?
Yeah. That's a good way to think
So
about it.
we were like, oh, we need to go tell this person. We need to go talk to this person. Let's go tell your youth leader so they're in the loop. Like, just telling people and just kind of making it casual is quite good.
And sorry, I just keep talking, but I think it's also good is to pray. I remember someone saying to me, pray for your future partner. Like, I think that's really key. Like, because you might not know who that is yet, but pray for them, pray about them, and like even saying, like, I remember praying when I was kind of 15, like, Lord, I definitely want to go into Jess did, I definitely want to go into ministry, but I need someone that can come alongside me. And like, I remember praying that, and I'd say that Jess is a real answer to prayer. So I remember someone saying to me, you know, pray for the person, pray for them, but also don't be afraid to pray about who you want in, because, you know, there's different things that you want in a girl or a boy, like, do you know what I mean, that you want to be with, and don't be afraid to pray about that and to ask God for that. And I know for me, definitely, I was someone that, of course, I wanted to go into ministry, and I could recognise the influence of the husband or the wife of that person is massive. And so I see that as a really important thing. And so for Jess was, I think, a real answer to prayer. It sounds like a really strange thing to say, but yeah, I think pray for the person and pray about the person as well. Yeah.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Well, you guys have been absolutely amazing. You're an inspiration to us, oldies, and I know you're an inspiration to loads of other people, and a real blessing to the church. So we just want to honour you and say thank you so much for jumping on board and being part of our On the Road conversations. We love you and thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. It's so much fun.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, wasn't that great? It's so refreshing to just talk to them about this kind of stuff, especially for myself and Kim, who haven't come up that way, but to see the heart of God working in their lives is just amazing. And it reminds me of that scripture about a 3-strand cord. It's not easily broken, which is in Ecclesiastes. And it's basically saying that there's you, there's the other person, and then there's God, the 3rd strand. And when that's braided or bound together, it is not easily broken. And that's the way God has purposed relationship. And I just wanted to bring this song, which shows the heart of God for us, which is How He Loves. I'm going to sing that for you now. He is jealous for me, loves like a hurricane. I am a tree, bending beneath the weight of His wind and mercy. When all of a sudden I am unaware of these afflictions eclipsed by glory, and I realize just how beautiful you are and how great your affections are for me. And oh, how He loves us so. Oh, how He loves us. How He loves us so. We are His portion, and He is our prize, drawn to redemption by the grace in His eyes. If grace is an ocean, we're all sinking. So heaven meets earth like a sloppy wet kiss, and my heart turns violently inside of my chest. I don't have time to maintain these regrets when I think about the way that He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. Yes, He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves us. Oh, how He loves. how he loves us so. Yes.
Father, I want to thank you that we will never have a lover like you, that you are the lover of our souls, that you would lay down your life in pursuit of us. Amen.
Amen.
So guys, I hope you've been blessed tonight. And just a word for those of you who are single. You know, the Bible celebrates singleness. Paul, one of the prolific contributors to the New Testament, the guy who was just writing letter after letter and teaching the people what it meant to live for Jesus. He was like, you know what, I'm single, and I think being single is better because you can serve God more wholeheartedly. If you are single, celebrate and rejoice because you are made whole in Christ. You don't need a date to complete you. So we celebrate you if you're single and believe that marriage is not an idol and dating is not an idol to be worshipped, and that singleness is actually a gift that God gives certain people. It's like a spiritual gift, like to be able to pursue, like Mike Pilavachi, to be able to pursue a course of ministry and to remain single while you're doing it. So we don't want you to have any condemnation if you're single or feel any rush to be dating. We know that God has a heart to meet you guys right where you're at. And for a lot of you, you know, dating is a big thing or not dating.
Yes.
We love you. You are all so worthy, you're all so valuable.
Yes.
And we just pray that you have a revelation of that. And we will see you next week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Happy?